The Galactic Council Hall floated above the golden clouds of Virulon Prime, shining like a jewel in orbit. It was the center of power for thousands of alien civilizations, a place where entire empires spoke with one voice. And today, humanity had finally earned a seat in that circle. The first human envoy, Ambassador Elias Grant, stood inside the great chamber, heart pounding under his dark uniform. Around him were hundreds of alien delegates, some floating, some glowing, some moving on thin metal limbs. The hall buzzed with whispers and curiosity. Humans were still considered a young race, and many doubted their worth. Elias looked calm, but his eyes carried the weight of an entire world behind him. He wasn't a soldier or a politician. He was chosen because he believed, truly believed, that peace between species was possible. As the chamber lights dimmed, the Supreme Counselor of the Galaxy, a tall being made of shimmering crystal named Vorankel, rose from the central throne. His voice echoed like music through the air. "Humanity of soul, you have traveled far. Speak now and show us your truth." Elias stepped forward, his reflection shimmering on the polished floor. Every gaze turned to him. He took a deep breath and began to speak. "Leaders of the galaxy," he said, his voice steady. "We come not as conquerors, but as partners. Humanity has changed. We once fought among ourselves, yes, but through that struggle we learned the value of peace. We built together, survived together, and now we wish to stand among you." He paused. The chamber was silent. He could see a few alien faces soften, maybe even respect in their eyes. But then, from the far side of the hall, a voice hissed. "Lies." It came from the Hrukon delegate, a tall insectoid creature with black armor and burning red eyes. Its mandibles clicked in anger. "Humans are a violent species. Your history is war, blood, and destruction. You bombed your own world for centuries. You have no place here." Elias met its gaze, refusing to look away. "We have made mistakes," he said quietly. "Every great species has. But we learned, we grew. Can you say the same?" A wave of shocked murmurs rippled through the hall. Some alien representatives whispered in their native tongues. Others stared at Elias with new suspicion. Vorankel raised a hand. "Enough. The council will decide." Before he could finish, a sudden flash of light exploded across the chamber. The blast threw Elias to the floor. Screams filled the hall. Security drones flew in, their metallic eyes glowing red. Elias struggled to rise, dazed, ears ringing. He saw smoke, fire, confusion. One of the crystalline walls had shattered. Then the voice of the Hrukon delegate shouted over the chaos. "The human has attacked us. He planted the bomb." Elias's eyes widened in horror. "No," he shouted. "That's not true." But his words were drowned out by the sirens and the council's panic. Armed guards rushed forward. Laser rifles pointed at him from every side. "Wait," Elias shouted again. "You're making a mistake." Vorankel's crystal body flickered with anger and fear. "You bring war into this hall, human. You betray our trust." Elias took a step forward, hands raised. "Please, and listen to me. Humanity came here for peace. We would never—" The order came before he could finish. "Terminate the threat." The sound of charged plasma filled the chamber. Elias froze. For a heartbeat, time stopped. He thought of Earth, of his daughter watching the stars, of all the people who believed in him. Then the light hit him. The blast threw him backward. His body lifted into the air by the force. For a brief silent moment, his form floated weightless, his blood scattering like red dust in zero gravity. His Earth flag patch drifted away from his sleeve, spinning slowly, catching the hall's light. Every delegate watched in silence. And then it was done. Humanity's first voice to the stars was dead. The broadcast was meant to be private, but fragments escaped across galactic communication channels. It reached every corner of known space, and one transmission made it back to Earth Command. Thousands of light years away, deep beneath the mountains of Colorado, the main command chamber of the Terran Defense Network came alive with static and silence. Screens showed the last seconds of Elias's life. Officers, soldiers, and scientists stood frozen. No one spoke. At the center of the room stood Commander Rhea Valen, the highest-ranking officer in Earth's interstellar defense. Her jaw tightened as the footage looped. She had known Elias personally. He had been her friend. When the video ended, the holographic display of the Galactic Council's seal burned faintly on the screen. A junior officer whispered, "Ma'am." What are your orders? Rhea didn't answer immediately. She looked up at the massive view of Earth through the command dome. Blue, fragile, beautiful. Humanity's home. Finally, she said quietly, "They killed him." Another officer hesitated. "Do we contact them, ma'am?" "Demand explanation?" Rhea shook her head slowly. Her voice turned cold, calm, and final. "No, we gave them peace." They answered with blood. She turned toward the central AI console, its circular lights pulsing softly in standby mode. "Activate Endgame protocol." The officers looked up in shock. The room froze. Everyone knew what that meant. One of the engineers spoke carefully. "Commander, are you sure? The Endgame systems haven't been—" "I'm sure." Her voice carried no anger. Only grief and certainty. Across the solar system, old systems began to wake. On the frozen moon Europa, deep under miles of ice, massive structures began to rise. Long metallic towers glowing faintly as they broke through the surface. The ice cracked for miles around. On Mars, buried under red dust, silos opened for the first time in centuries. Machines the size of cities powered up, sending blue pulses into orbit. Around Saturn, dark shapes emerged from the planet's shadows. Ships older than any known fleet. Silent and patient, each one received the same signal. Endgame protocol, level Omega. Humanity had prepared for this moment long ago. Not for war, but for the moment when diplomacy would fail. When survival would demand strength. Back on Earth, Rhea stood before the holographic map of the Milky Way. Tiny red points began to appear, human systems coming online one by one. "Project Revenant operational," said the AI voice softly. "Solar defense grid charging. Fleet awakening." Rhea nodded. "Good," another officer spoke. "Ma'am, what message should we send to the Galactic Council?" Rhea's gaze was distant, her voice quiet, but it carried the weight of 10 billion hearts. "Send this message. Humanity will no longer seek permission." The words left the system faster than light, racing toward the same council that had condemned Elias. Meanwhile, in the wreckage of the council hall, silence hung heavy. Cleanup drones floated through the debris, repairing walls and ceiling cracks. No one mentioned the human again. The council had declared the case closed, an unfortunate accident, but whispers began to spread through the galaxy. Some races doubted the story. Some had seen the full footage, the way Elias had been unarmed, the fear in his eyes before the shot. The truth began to travel quietly, faster than the council could hide it, and then something strange started happening. One by one, communication beacons near human space went dark. Merchant ships disappeared without distress calls. Entire listening stations stopped transmitting. Within a few weeks, the silence spread. To the council, it was as if a black curtain had been drawn around the solar system. They could see the stars beyond Sol, but no signal escaped it. No probe returned. The council tried to send fleets to investigate. None came back. Rumors said that human ships had been seen, not old colony cruisers, but something new. Something silent, sharp, and terrifying. One alien admiral described it in a private report before disappearing. "They move like ghosts. No light, no sound, just shadows and purpose." Far away, Commander Rhea Valen stood in the command room again, watching as holographic icons blinked red across the map. Her expression was unreadable. Behind her, the AI spoke softly. "Endgame forces are fully deployed. Awaiting next phase authorization." She took a slow breath, eyes still on the stars. "Hold position. They will call us soon enough." Somewhere in the galaxy, a faint transmission flickered through the void. An old recording. It was Elias Grant's voice, recovered from his last speech. "We came here to build peace, not walls. We wanted to share our strength, not our fear." For a moment, even the machines paused as his words played through Earth's systems. Rhea closed her eyes. "You tried, Elias," she whispered. "Now it's our turn." As the camera of history panned back across the solar system, a sight unfolded, fleets awakening, defense rings lighting up, cities on the moon and Mars powering massive reactors. Humanity's light spread outward, not in peace this time, but in unity. The message had been sent. The galaxy would soon understand. Humanity was no longer a quiet observer. They had called for peace. They had been answered with death. Now they were calling Endgame. The galaxy had never seen anything like it. For centuries, civilizations had risen and fallen under the rules of the Galactic Council. Wars had been fought, treaties signed, and empires built. Yet no species had dared move against the Council directly, until Earth decided it was time. From hidden silos beneath Mars's red dust to orbital fortresses around Jupiter, humanity's machines and fleets had awakened. Thousands of ships, small and fast, slipped silently through the void. Their hulls were black as night, reflecting only the distant stars. No flags, no war cries, just purpose, the silent offensive. The first strike came without warning. A fleet of human stealth ships emerged near the Hrukan homeworld. They were unseen until the moment their weapons fired. Missile barrages disabled the planet's orbital defense rings. Communication satellites fell from the sky like fiery raindrops. The Hrukan fleet scrambled, but it was too late. The humans moved with precision and efficiency that no alien species had ever witnessed. Not a single civilian settlement was harmed. The strikes were surgical, hitting only military and strategic targets. Across the galaxy, the news spread faster than light. Humanity fights differently. They do not kill. They disable. They teach fear without chaos. The Council had underestimated humanity, and it was a mistake they would pay for. Council panicked back on Viewership Prime. The Council convened in emergency. The crystal walls reflected fear in every corner. Delegates argued over who had failed, who had allowed humans to become strong enough to retaliate. They should not have fleets, hissed the Vareth representative, a being of pure energy shaped like a tower of light. How could a species so young be so advanced? Vorankel's voice rang through the chamber, trembling with fury and disbelief. Contain them. Destroy them before they reach our core systems. Armadas launched across the stars, each ship armed with ancient weapons, some older than humanity itself. But the humans did not meet them head-on. Instead, they outmaneuvered the Council's fleets, striking communication hubs, supply stations, and command vessels with uncanny precision. No one knew where the human ships would appear next. They moved like shadows, leaving panic and confusion in their wake. The ghost of Elias Grant deep within Earth's command center, Commander Rhea Valen activated a secret program, one never intended for use unless humanity was directly threatened. Elias Grant, humanity's first envoy, had foreseen this. Before leaving Earth, he had uploaded fragments of his consciousness into a secure AI system. Now his voice filled the Council's communications channels across the galaxy. You killed me because you feared us, Elias said calmly, yet every word cut like a knife. We came in peace. You answered with violence. Now you will see the consequences. Every Council fleet and station that heard the message froze, even briefly. The voice of the fallen envoy echoed through their minds, a reminder that humanity was no longer naive, no longer weak. The galaxy had underestimated humans, and that mistake would change history. The galactic reckoning over the next weeks. The Council's civilizations felt the full force of the Endgame protocol. The Hrukan homeworld's planetary defense rings collapsed under electromagnetic pulses. Entire fleets were stranded in orbit, powerless. The Varath crystalline cities shattered under focused energy lances, their once glowing towers now dark and silent. The echelons, known for their intelligence and cunning, found their communication networks scrambled and intercepted. Humanity did not destroy life unnecessarily. Every attack was precise, leaving the inhabitants alive but powerless. Cities were empty shells. Governments incapacitated. Everywhere the same message appeared. Humanity desires peace. To you, some species surrendered immediately. Others resisted only to find themselves isolated, their fleets crippled, their leaders captured or incapacitated. The galaxy was learning the same lesson Earth had tried to teach for decades. Humans were patient, but patient did not mean weak. Strategy and brilliance. Humanity's brilliance lay not only in its technology, but in its strategy. Rather than attacking indiscriminately, humans focused on disrupting the Council's power structure. They cut communications first, then disabled fleets, and finally incapacitated political leadership. The Council tried to strike back, sending massive warships toward Earth. But human AI predicted every move. For every Council fleet launched, humans had already prepared 2 countermeasures. By the time the Council realized the strategy, their armadas were retreating in disarray. In the void of space, the human fleets moved like a single organism, fast, Silent and deadly accurate, Voronkel, watching from his command station, realized his mistake too late. We treated them as children, he admitted to his advisors. They are not children. They are the reckoning. The final negotiation after months of conflict, the Council was forced to act. Its fleets were crippled and most communication hubs across the galaxy had been taken offline. Voronkel sent a desperate plea to Earth. Enough. Humanity, we surrender. Speak your terms. Rhea Valen, standing in the command room, looked at the map of the galaxy. She saw countless systems under human influence, not destroyed but silent, ready. Her voice was calm, almost gentle, but every word carried the weight of Earth's resolve. You will dissolve the Council. Every species must sign a new charter under Earth's guidance. Humanity will mediate all disputes, and the lives of every being under this galaxy's sky will be protected. Harm none unnecessarily. The Council delegates had no choice. They had underestimated the humans' resolve and planning. The new charter was drafted, and for the first time, Earth had a say in interstellar governance. Humanity's legacy months passed, and the galaxy began to change. Trade routes reopened under human oversight, star systems rebuilt, guided by humanity's technological knowledge and diplomatic fairness. For the first time, a young species shaped the destiny of the galaxy. Deep beneath the surface of Mars, Rhea Valen watched as new ships were built, not for war, but as a symbol of strength. Humanity had shown that might and mercy could coexist, that intelligence and morality could shape a galaxy. And somewhere in the reconstructed networks of the Council, the voice of Elias Grant, now fully integrated into the AI system, spoke softly to every human fleet and command center. Peace is the choice of the strong. Humanity has shown both strength and mercy. Never forget that. The new ambassador years later, a new envoy stood before the galaxy. Ambassador Elias Grant II, a clone of the first envoy, carrying both his father's name and legacy. He addressed the galaxy from a holographic platform orbiting Earth. His voice was steady, calm, and proud. We offered peace once. You refused it. We showed restraint, patience, and strategy. Now we define peace together. Let this era be remembered as the age when humanity rose, not as conquerors, but as guardians of the stars. The galaxy listened, silent in awe. For the first time, a young species had not only survived the scrutiny of older civilizations, but had reshaped their future entirely. The last message, in the final moments of the Endgame protocol, Rhea Valen stood once again in the command room, looking at the stars. The AI, now infused with fragments of Elias Grant, spoke softly. The galaxy has learned the cost of betrayal. Humanity has risen, Rhea nodded. Yes, and now it is time to guide, not destroy. The galaxy will remember us, and not just for our strength, but for our mercy and vision. The stars around Sol shone brightly. Earth had not only survived, but had carved a place for itself among the oldest and most powerful civilizations. The galaxy was watching, and for the first time, it feared humanity, but also respected it.